Firing systems give us a mechanism to bring the display that we've been dreaming up in our head into the world for the enjoyment of all of those who get to see it in its glory. Innovations in tech have played a huge role, enabling the modern pyro show designer to do his or her thing. And as a junkie of that tech who's always looking for ways to be more efficient, I fall in love quickly with companies that understand my challenges. That's why a lot of us here at the Rhythm Pyro podcast love Muxboard long time. We're huge proponents of the modern quick plug and quick connect match technology. It's hands down one of the most innovative and elegant industry solutions that's hit pyro in a long time. CJ, Muxboard's owner, is on a mission to make sure that a wide variety of firing systems on the market have access to this industry-saving time tool. With slats and breakout boards compatible with Cobra, Ignite, Mongoose, Fire One, FireTech, and Starfire, there's likely a solution there for you. Muxboard's capabilities don't stop at off-the-shelf, though. If you're a display company or a pyro club or just want your gear to be a representation of you, Muxboard can tailor your slat's cosmetic look to your brand, offering custom PCB colors and even your logo. Jamie, AJ, and I use Muxboard because it saves time. And while some hobbyists think it's cool to work on the same show for an entire year, that's all well fine and good. Do that where it counts, though. On the fun stuff, like design and picking product, and not on the stuff that's boring and takes forever, like punching down or landing standard wire lead cues. Head over to muxboard.com, MUXBRD.com. Invest in quality slats, breakout boards, and supporting technology for your firing system, and start talking about it. Because old flying wire leads and speaker terminals suck when you have more single shots in your show than you do dollars in your bank account.
It says my battery life is 33%, so we'll see.
Oh, sounds like AJ in the audio box.
It was perfectly fine. It was P4 at the beginning and P4 at the end.
This thing is drifting.
We'll see how we do.
Whoa.
Oh, wow.
It looked great. It didn't drift. It looked just fine.
Wow. Can't believe you're going to do that.
Do what? Oh, come on.
That's
nothing makes me feel more awkward than when I say something that, if we weren't recording, he would have had a heyday with it and it would have been a lot of fun.
Yeah,
and we're recording
because I don't want to talk about it out in public.
I don't want to talk about it. That's the whole point of this episode is we're going to talk about improvement, all of the great things that we can improve at. Because we
can improve. Yes.
we can improve. All right. Let's see that.
You know what can improve is Facebook. That's what can improve. When you try to put a thank you post out there and they take it down because they say you're trying to steal people's information. It's like, who read this thing? What AI service read that and was like, I'd like to start off by saying humble. It's like, what the Where in any of that did it say, guys, send me money? Guys, click this link for a special deal. Like, what the hell? Did I ask for information? Not once. Like, seriously. Zuckerberg, if you're listening to me.
Probably reported it. He was tired of it.
Flagged it as spam.
He flagged it as spam.
It's my personal page. That's the weird thing. It's up on everything else just fine. His personal page got taken down. Like, what? That doesn't make any sense.
Really? It was on your page?
My personal page. The other ones are fine, but personal page got taken down. It's like, well, what? What?
Did you send it back? Did you hit the...
Oh, yeah. I put the review thing.
You guys should... okay.
I put review and it's a whatever. And for the cybersecurity stuff, I went through there and was like, what are the reasons that you should be, or we should look at this? And it's like, none of the options they give me to say like, it's not cybersecurity thing or nothing like that. It said something about my post wasn't offensive. My post was a joke. I'm like, what does this have to do with anything of why you guys took this off?
Yeah, your account's flagged or something. Because remember the issues you had with Adelissa? Like you couldn't post the word fireworks.
Yeah. And same thing with, I can't post stuff online sometimes because remember when I tried to share our episode, Bo, it like took them all down.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, he always talks about being a Republican. Screw this guy. He's on the list.
I always assumed you always did that just to get out of sharing the episode. Man, it flagged it again. Shit. Guess I can't share it this week.
Welcome to the Rhythm Pyro Podcast, where Rosie, AJ, and Jamie ignite your passion for pyro musical show design while testing the very limits of your capacity for stupid.
Welcome to the Rhythm Pyro Podcast. I'm Bo. That's AJ.
Hola.
And that's Nate, because Jamie's dead.
Here I am.
Jamie's not dead. He's just sick. Rest up, buddy. We love you, man.
Oh, man.
Hope you feel better. Has anybody in either of your camps gotten sick?
Not fully sick. Vanna's not feeling the best.
Ooh.
She has kind of a chest cold, but I don't. It doesn't sound like it's what Jamie has.
Okay, that's good.
We did spend several hours in the truck together on the way home.
That's true. You were
Vanna got
exposed
closer
a lot
to him,
longer
is that
than
what you're
anybody else
saying?
was. Was Justin there too?
Yeah.
Oh wow, how's Justin feeling?
I'm fine. I mean, I told him, gave him a heads up, and he said that sucks, but no, he's fine too. He sat next to him the whole time.
Did he? He said, I was waiting for that sucks for me at the end.
Yeah.
We're hobbyists and semi-professional pyro show designers are big fans of the modern pyro musical. And our little podcast is a place where you can get together, talk shop fireworks art, and share tips, tricks, news, and insights with you. We're hanging out with Nate and AJ this week. It was their PGI extravaganza this past weekend. Guys, it was phenomenal. That was one of the best shows that oh my God, that was one of the best shows that I've ever seen, man. You guys did such a good job.
Thank you very much, brother. Means a lot coming from you.
You should have seen me back behind the camera. I could sit back there and bullshit every single little like dance move and like point at the sky and like, oh yeah, hit that. And you like hit this and, play like air drums in front of the sky. And people are like, well, this guy knows what's going on. He knows what's going to happen. No, I don't. I just know that on every single beat, there's going to be something. So the joke's on them. That's right. The joke's on them.
You don't get it. That's how we all do it here.
It was
no
so
black
good,
sky.
Well, and what I thought was really cool was there were distinct design styling differences between both of your guys' designs. And I thought that was really special because going into it, I'm like, I know how AJ designs and I've watched Nate, I've watched your designs. And I think the first one that I had seen that was on a bigger field were the ones that you put up this year over the 4th of July. So, it was different seeing designs come from you on a bigger field because I was only ever used to, your narrow field design style. So it was really cool, but I could distinctly see the design differences between both of you on the field. And I like, that's something that kind of warmed my heart watching. Cause I'm like, this is great, dude. Because even though you're watching high caliber designers do their thing, you can see how they use product differently.
It's like two shows in one.
That's
right.
2 shows in one.
That's right. But wait, there's more. So, all right, well, let's do this. So this whole episode is geared toward kind of looking inward and trying to figure out, like, what do you do better? After every single show, it's so important to analyze everything that you did. Obviously, I felt like we had a lot of successes, but at the same time, you have to look at everything that you did and determine where can I improve? Where can I improve from my ability to lead? Or where can I improve from my ability to do this? Where could we improve in communication? Like all of these different things. So that's in essence what this episode is about. So does anybody want to kind of jump in and go first?
I mean, well, I'm always going first, so I might as well, right? You guys always give me shit for it. So, I mean, the biggest thing, the one thing I definitely would say is something we talked about at the house, at the B&B, we're all together. And it is true. Really doing like the communication, like, first thing in the morning, everyone getting together and just trying to do a game plan. Even if we've already talked about the game plan, going over it again, just to make sure it's fresh in everyone's head, and, coordinating the day and what's going to happen that day, because it can get really confusing and just sporadically insane when you have all these people and they're like, all right, well, this is the same thing I was doing yesterday. And then everyone just kind of goes back to what they were doing. But, there's no other, hey guys, here's the goal today. Here's what we're trying to do.
What's the end point?
Yeah. Where do you have to be? Throughout the day's efforts, what puts you on track at any one given point in the day? I mean, was there any days where you guys looked back on the entirety of the day's events and you're worried that we weren't where we needed to be?
Personally, for me, I don't think so. I think at the end of every day, I left feeling good. Like, man, we are in good shape. Like, because every day we're watching the rain. I said, man, even if the rain comes and we lose valuable setup time, I've always felt like we were in good shape. I never felt like that we were going to struggle on getting everything down and ready to go.
That's because you knew we had a bad crew.
We did.
I'll tell you what, the first day when we left, I think we all talked about, we're like, all right, we'll get the whole front line done and we'll get the towers up and everything. And we did really well getting most of that stuff done. And it got to a point where I was like, oh man, we didn't really get everything I thought we'd for sure get done. But it wasn't until the following day when we were out there, I was like, you know what? It flew so much faster. The first day was like everyone getting into that rhythm, finding out what was going to go on. And then everyone found their rhythm and kept going, kind of thing. So it did speed up. I'm always worried though out there. It's always like the biggest thing. Till you get to a point where you're like, you feel really comfortable. I'm always constantly worried.
No. Well, I mean, how do you keep yourself from, how do you temper that?
Caesar? Is that what you're trying to say?
No, well, not really. I mean,
I know where you're going with it.
No.
I didn't click this year. I was pretty good.
Yeah, no. I thought, for the most part, you were really well behaved.
For the most part,
for the most part, you were really well behaved until you came in from the field, and I had to go get my AJ canceling headphones at one point and put those on. Because I'm like, oh my God, he's fucking with my cakes, man. Let's pull this shit out of the trailer. And I'm punching it. There's this massive stack of cakes. And then you start grabbing stuff. And then you're taking it to all these different positions. And I'm like, oh my God. Now I'm going to have to move to all of these different spots and get new cakes. And I was like, okay, I'm just going to listen to music. I'm just going to listen to music for the next 2 hours.
I was really just trying to sort all that stuff. And again, that's part of that communication thing. I guess I should have said, hey, I want to sort these out first so we can fit them on a board, find out what's going to fit so we know what size match is going to be best to use here. What we know that, this will fit here and we'll have to fit this on a secondary board, but these cues are going to have to go on this board kind of thing. It was just one of those where I was so focused on making sure I laid out everything correctly that communication got lost in that. I did see, I do know what you're talking about. I remember looking and you're like, the f*** is this dude doing? Like, I was working on
that.
You remember that scene in The Aviator with Leonardo DiCaprio? When he's trapped in his house and he's got like all that shit everywhere. And he's like, these people, they're coming over, they're touching things. So he's touching things. He's touching things. He's touching things.
Show me the blueprints. Show me the blueprints.
Show me the blueprints. Show me the blueprints. Show me the blueprints. Come in with the melt. Come in with the melt. Come in with the melt. Communications, it is hard. And I think it becomes harder for the hobbyist pyro.
And I think it's too because we all know each other so well and we know that you know what you're doing.
Yeah, well, we know our tendencies. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Yeah. But that's like, I guess it's in my head, at least, I'm always thinking, I'm like, well, this person or these people know exactly what they're doing. They do this kind of stuff. They know exactly what to do. So I kind of feel like I don't have to say as much.
Yeah.
But looking back on this, I mean, that's always my biggest downfall is never communicating that stuff of like, but again, it's because I don't like that whole shoot site Caesar kind of thing. Like I don't want to feel like I'm telling you something. You know what I mean?
No,
it's more of
it's almost like you assume that everybody knows what they're doing, and if somebody doesn't know or has a question, they'll ask.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Like I feel like they'll ask kind of thing.
Yeah. And then I suppose it depends on the show that you're on too, because sometimes the people that help you out on shows, because you get to know their tendencies and you get to know what people's strengths are and what their weaknesses may be. You know, I don't think at any one given point I don't think I've ever looked at you as a shoot site Caesar because you over communicated something. You know, it's like I think the shoot site Caesar trope almost all, you know, came from the whole, like, you know, you being the world's greatest tradesman. And you're like, yo, you not doing that right. Why don't you just tie like this? You know?
Get out of my way, kid.
Yeah, get out of my way. What did you do, bro? Have you ever ratchet strapped?
You're taking too long. Hey, the towers went up really easy this year, though.
Yeah, they did.
Because it was because that one was definitely because we communicated. Like, you know, it was like, all right, everybody, before we can get there, you know, get your stuff ready. You know, if you didn't know what you're doing, someone went over there and said, all right, look, here's how you're going to do it. We all explained stuff. And it was, I mean, they went up, boom, 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 one after another.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, this was like half the time that it took at Sky Wars. Right.
And there's a film, like a familiarity with that, you know, because I feel like the towers are almost becoming like a standard Crayco rack setup in that sense.
Yeah.
You know, because
communication was so great, someone even said, "Hey, you're going to hit those power lines."
Yeah, no. Oh, that'd have been bad.
Yeah.
He signed a waiver.
Exactly.
Suppose those shunts didn't work. Yeah. What about you, Nate? Well, I guess if you were to look at the entire experience, what's one of the biggest things that you took away? What'd you learn?
And be honest.
Oh, man. You know, I learned a lot. I mean, I've never had done a show of this size. So there's a lot for me to take in. And I guess on the leading side of things, still try to lead and give direction at the same time, but also take in, you know, tips and feedback from AJ and everybody else who's done shows of this size. So it was a learning and try to lead as best I could at the same time type of thing.
Yeah. That's got to be tough too. I mean, there's instances where there's always overlap, right? Because I mean, these are all tasks that whether you do them the same way that, you know, AJ does them or the Jamie does them or anybody else on the site does them, or whether you do them differently when you're at home doing them, I always feel like the bigger sites like this, when everything kind of comes together and, you know, you're really kind of under the gun, that's when you really have to figure out, okay, what makes the most sense when it comes to applying it to this application and this shoot site? Because there's a lot of times where it's like there's 15 ways to skin a cat, you know? And if you approach something where it's like, okay, I took in some advice and I gave some advice, but what really makes the most sense? That's got to be that's always what I find to be the toughest with these really large scale sites. So I completely empathize with you on that front.
Right.
So I did. So it was like the day, was the second? Yeah, second day, Nate was setting all the racks. And it wasn't until, I mean, thank God, Bo, you caught that in the first few racks. Because I think once I got into loading them more and more, I caught it myself, but I didn't think twice about it. I'm like, because when I got to one and I messed it up, I'm like, oh, wait, this is back, this is front, this is front. I'm like, did I mess up on those other ones? I'm like, nah, that was good.
Yeah. Well, yeah. You're talking about like
how he does his racks, how I do my racks. It's still the same numbering layout kind of thing. Oh, excuse me. But that first row is different than how I do mine.
Yeah.
How many racks was there, by the way? Was it 2 or 3 that you found?
I think 4.
4.
Okay.
Awesome.
So I stopped about halfway through the field because he came over and because you guys called me over to move my truck. I don't know if you wanted my truck moved or whatever, but I was only halfway through checking the field. I'm like, all right, I found 2 of them. I'm just going to go back and I'm going to say, there may be more. They were probably off to my left because I stopped halfway.
And it was always that last row. Yeah, the positive row.
The last row. Yep.
Yeah. But I guess to frame it in a way for anybody that's listening, the racking assembly process that we have when it comes to, numbering the Craigco rack chambers and essentially doing everything by angle and by row, it takes on a nomenclature from addressing, and then it just winds up being a numerical sequence as you go through the rack. But, the way that AJ does it and the way that Jamie does it and the way that I do it and the way that Nate does it, like there's very, very subtle differences, but the differences when you get on a shoot site like this
can be devastating.
They can be devastating, especially in the sense that the way that you guys divvied up duties initially has been, you have a rack setter that's setting the angles, and then that gets passed along to essentially a rack loader, right? Like it's an assembly line process that goes down the line. So what happens is you have 2 different people that have a different way of doing it. And then by the time it comes through to the end, it just winds up being like, you got a row that's backwards because it was just like snaked differently because Jamie Velcros his slats to the back of the rack. And that's where they always are during the show versus, like when AJ does it or when Nate, you do it, like things, you guys might position your racks differently, or you might load them from, standing on a different perspective. So it's interesting, but you don't think about that stuff until you're in a situation where you're like, oh shit. Yeah, that it makes sense.
But there are mental notes now that I have and actually written down. I actually do. Every time I do some kind of big show where it's something like this comes up and gets caught, it goes in a book. Like I'm almost done with my first page of like notes of like stuff that I need to remember to write down. Or like I read it. Everything that was in this book, I read before we went to PGI. And then some of the stuff I learned this time, I've just added. Because it's just, you don't think about it. And especially, I'm not one to want to like just lead. Like I feel like I have to put in the work. Like I can't do it. So that does take away a little part of like that communication, I think too.
Yeah, because you're preoccupied with wanting to do work too.
And Nate, so like when I left to go with the 1-3 guys to help set up all those labels, and I kind of came back, I didn't think I was like snapping on you kind of thing when I came back, and I was like, hey man, when I'm gone, you got to delegate. Like it was more of like, I was just giving you like, it's your show, dude. Like, okay. When I got back, I was like, man, I hope we didn't take that as like, what a
No.
He is a shoot side Caesar.
I don't know, dude. And it's like, you being the tradesman that you are, and, because like I watch movies, I'm cultured. The Chicago guys, I'm cultured. The Chicago guys and that whole stereotype of, hey, what the doing? I'm walking here,
That's New York,
like,
dude.
Yeah, whatever. I mean, for the most part, I don't think you really embody that. I think the shit that we've always given you for shoot side Caesar has always just been on like the really, the really minuscule stuff, which to be quite honest, like I was like this whole past trip, I thought you were great. You didn't do any of that shit at all. You didn't come over to anybody and go, hey, maybe just put your elbow into it a little more, or like none of that. It's none of that. It was none of the micromanaging. It was all the good stuff.
Every night when we were at home, I asked Amber, I'm like, hey, was I an asshole today at all? Do I need to apologize to anybody? Like I was like really trying. I was like, man. I didn't think about it. She's like, I didn't see anything. I'm like, you sure? Do I need to take anybody to apologize?
You can't ask Amber. You got to ask an unbiased opinion. You got to go ask Derek.
Oh no,
Derek
Amber would tell me.
Yeah,
Amber would tell me. She's brutally honest to me as it is. So she'd be like, yeah, you're a Sorry, there's a lot of beeping in this one. I apologize.
Well, Well, he must not have been, because Jamie said he was trying to get kicked off of rack duty, and that didn't happen.
Yeah. Hey, he left the 1-3 crew. I didn't tell him to come back. I gave him choice. He could do whatever he wanted. I didn't say, well, you do whatever you want, homie.
I'm reserving the job of your choice.
I don't want to hear about it for another year. Medusa duty. Stuck on Medusa duty. Got stuck on rack duty. God. Stuck on 1-3 duty. It's like, well, which one do you want? I want beer 30. Wine o'clock.
Right.
Did you guys learn anything when it came to tackling everything together as a unit? You know, did you guys learn anything about one another's tendencies? Did you learn anything about, you know, how best to communicate with each other? What advice would you guys have for guys that are trying to collaborate on things from that perspective?
Well, Nate did really good with making that spreadsheet up on what did we use, Nate?
For what?
For Excel? The product and all that stuff. It's like Excel.
Google Sheets.
Oh, like Google Sheets.
There you go. Yeah, there you go. So like that
so
was the biggest one.
We could share it and edit it, and we could both see everything live as, you know, products added and accounted for and all that stuff.
Cool. Yeah, who was getting it, where it was coming from, how many, you know, double checking, need to get, who has it, that kind of thing.
Yeah, and I think out of the 4,600 Qs, the only thing that we were the oops on was he thought that I had some slices, and I thought he was bringing them. So, I mean, it all worked out. It all worked out in the end, but that was really the only thing that we kind of missed.
That one didn't get entered into the old spreadsheet, huh?
Actually, and there is one more, and Nate pointed it out, because when we were labeling, we had a few instances where we labeled some stuff wrong, and we went through everything and thought we found it all, but it wasn't until the very last day we were setting racks, I was getting worried, because we knew we had like 4 items or something like that, Nate, right? That we couldn't find. And I just couldn't find them. So every time I'd load a rack, I'd read the label, put the effect in, read the label. I'm like, man, what is going on? I know these are in here somewhere. We have to have these. And it wasn't until the last 2 racks we found them. I'm like, are you serious? I've been panicking all day for this.
Yeah.
But in the show, there was those horsetails, like one shots that I tore a cake apart to make. And there was only 99 of them. Well, I put 100 in the show. And it wasn't until we were actually breaking them down and labeling them, like, oh, I'm going to be 1 short. I was like, oh, well, I'll just delete it. Well, at the end of this whole thing, where did the sticker go? Like, oh, that's on something. And it ended up on a blue Nishiki. The cake's called Blue Nishiki by RKM Night Owl. And we ripped that cake apart too. And I didn't notice it in the show, but Nate pointed it out to me, like, oh, there it is. And it's in that Nishiki part. Yeah, it blended in perfect. You'd never tell. Because those I did have a few extra of, like 2 or 3 pieces. Because at the end, I'm like, well, I should have like 4 of these, and I'm only having 3, and whatever.
That's got to give you anxiety, though, because like it's probably in that very instance you're like, oh my god, what else is up?
Yeah, totally. Both of us were doing that. Eventually, we knew we'd find it, though.
We went through every box of product that we had twice to look for errors and mistakes that we knew were in there. I think we caught. I mean, aside from the one you just mentioned, I think we caught them all.
Yeah, besides the ones we fixed at the show, where we were like, and we knew what they were. It was because, and I'm sure it was when we were looking through, we got complacent. It was an orange meter. Yeah, there's that word. Yeah. It's the word of the day. Miss you, Jamie. Yeah, I figured that would be good for him. He'd laugh at that one. It was an orange meteor, 40 millimeter, but then we had an orange mine. What was the
orange strobe willow tail?
There you go.
Orange strobe willow tail.
So I'm sure when people were going through the boxes, we were looking, we just went orange, and we saw the first thing, orange mine. We're like, yep, that's good. And just kind of went through it. Didn't catch it. The one thing I did learn with Nate, and I actually do like this part about him, he's very anal about stuff like me. And I enjoy that part because and it's fine. It's fine to be like that because there's things that I missed actually that I knew I would catch eventually if I went back through everything, but he would catch it for me before. And it made things go so much smoother because it's those things that I was checking and I'm like, all right, I'll double check that later. I have to go back to this. And then he'd text me up and be like, hey, you didn't do this, or hey, I saw this in the script. You got this going off in the center, and then it goes off in the center again, and it's supposed to be on the left. I'm like, oh, thanks, man, appreciate that.
Double checking. You're like, oh yeah, I already changed that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Just little things to remind me of things.
Yeah, right. It's good to have that filtration system as things kind of make their way out to the field because they're going to get touched, but there's more than just busy work to do because a lot of times it'll hit a check and a balance along the way. And, you kind of rely on those people to be the checks and balances, your eyes and ears as stuff makes its way into the show.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, we all want the show to be as perfect as possible, but with a show this big and this many pieces that are in it, with this many hands that are touching it multiple times, I mean, you can only do so much to make it perfect, and then after that, it's just everything's got to line up, and luck's got to be on your side for it to be exactly right.
I know I've only found a few mistakes from anything, and they're just like probably simple ones where it's like 3 got into 13 kind of thing, like one of those quick things. Other than that, it was everyone did amazing. I was shocked. We had a full green screen. 100% continuity throughout the whole show at the end of the night.
Yep.
I do remember going out, Bo, and I could have sworn when you saw me run out there and you're like, what are we not moving fast enough for you, Dad? I was like, no. I was like,
dude, continuity checks. I turned to Jamie and I said, hey, look, we're not moving fast enough. He's doing top secret continuity checks. Because you had your Bluetooth in your ear and you're like, okay, what is that? What, channel 63Q7? Okay.
At the table, he said, I'm going out there. Just put it on speakerphone.
Well, no, that's funny. We at first originally we had the 2 remotes. Well, the first remote, the one that was in the front, that one only had a few things on it. And by the time that was done, then it was just the 2 of us going together, which worked at the beginning because Chad made a good point when he checked station 3-1, 3-inch shell, station 1. He's like, all right, what about 4-1 and 5-1? Because the way it goes in the script, it's not in that order. So I was like, hold please. And I was like, all right, guy, we're just going to go through here and everything that's red, we're going to write down on a paper. So that way we can send them in, in an order, not like, hey, run to F10. Yeah. Oh, now run down to F1.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Right.
Because that's a long walk.
Oh yeah.
Right.
So when it got down to that point, it was like, we were down to our last few and I just was like, whatever, I'll go out there and help. Faster we get this done, the faster we can all just sit on and do nothing.
Yeah. And that's dude, and that's probably the one thing in future shows that I think I'll probably just ask for before we get there is the site map. Because there were a couple of times where, it's like, cause I even caught you, almost like calling out, like you were specifically trying to target whoever was doing continuity checks in a certain area. Like, hey, hey, Bo, you're already really close to the 5-inch shells. Can you look at this one? It's that position right off to your left there or whatever it is. But having the map, because I think that's something that we all, for the most part, I mean, our site layouts and what we name our positions are somewhat similar, but not totally. There's some overlap, but not a ton. So almost looking at the field, I had to.
And we had 5 of them. That's the saddest part. Yeah. Which, by
5
the way,
massive
Dana.
Maps.
By the way, Dana, shout out. Appreciate the maps, man. You did amazing on that.
Yeah.
Oh, I wish I had
my
one.
Canadian friend. I know
they're like 3 foot long. Like they were huge maps. In my trailer.
Oh, we should have duct taped one of those or 2 of them. We should put one on everybody's trailer. Right on the side.
Yeah, right on the side.
Yeah. Great place for it. And I could have taken a picture of it with my phone, though. I would have had it with me everywhere.
Whoopsie!
I felt like somebody lost in downtown Chicago. A couple of times I'd yell to Chad, I'm like, hey, I'm supposed to go to this position. Do you know where that is? Is that this way? Is it that way?
What's even worse is I went out to drop the fuel mine charges before our show started.
Oh my God.
And then AJ went out with me again afterwards to make sure nothing was on fire. But when it's dark out there, nothing looks the same. Nothing. You can't find anything.
Oh God.
And they were in the 30 line, and Derek and Amber did the 30 line. Yeah. And so Nate didn't do the F line. So he's like, where is this at? I have no freaking clue.
I can't read the damn flags in the dark.
And everything looks the same.
Dude, I will admit, this isn't anything related to what we're talking about, but this was kind of funny, and it made me laugh. When we went out there to save mods, when they let us go out there with an escort, we're just trying to get where the things were burning. We're like trying to pull stuff away. We got back and Nate was like, man, that was like a fucking war zone, man. Cause like cakes were going off all around us. And admittingly, it was fun. Cause like for a minute, I was like, man, I forgot what this was like hand lighting and being next to that stuff and like all that excitement and stuff. But this time it was a surprise. You didn't know what was going to light and what wasn't.
Yeah.
And you're running.
Yeah, you're just running. Fire's burning everywhere.
Any moment your escort's going to start screaming at you. Like, we got to go.
Right.
We got to get.
Oh, he wasn't even near us. He was like, I ain't going in there. He waited by the edge.
Yeah, he did.
These assholes signed a waiver. They die, it's on them.
All I remember is running by a fireball, and I was like, oh, God.
Yeah, that's so
please don't go off.
Yikes, man. Well, I learned never to assume. Yeah, I learned never to assume. So, Nate, I apologize for this again on site when we were doing continuity checks. I've done shows, big shows like this before. I've done, tons of shows, and I'm so used to lead or co-leads, being together at the table that I didn't even think twice, dude. When I was handing out headsets for continuity checks, like I handed one to AJ thinking that you guys were going to be up at the table together, and then just kind of like went about it and thought about it afterwards.
That was the plan. I didn't know. All good.
Yeah. No, I wanted you to know that I definitely did not omit you from that. And I'm terribly sorry. And I will never, because I thought about it too, even afterwards. I'm like, I did kind of make an assumption, but it is kind of like your first big show like this, so like you alluded to earlier, you're doing so many different things, you're
for the first time.
For the first time, you're giving jobs and you're, receiving jobs, and then you're trying to make sense of everything as you go. So I get it, dude. And I apologize for
no,
assuming.
You're good. You're good. Totally good.
Let's see. What else?
What else would you say that either one of us could work better at?
I don't know.
Taking your cakes away from you.
Yeah, don't take my cakes away from me. Not in the AM, bro. Not in the late AM, bro.
Hey, I will say, I was shocked every time you showed up. I was like, man, he got up early. I'm not saying that as a jab. I'm literally not saying that as a jab. I'm saying I was like, we were all kidding though. We were like, what? Bo's here early. Man, he turned 40. And
what's Bo doing here?
He gets up early now.
Yeah, I just I had my morning coffee and my Metamucil, and here I am. Did my crossword puzzle.
Metamucil.
Yeah. So what? When somebody joked that you guys had a pool on what time I was going to be there, and I'm like, oh yeah, I'm gonna this shit up.
It never even happened.
And it never happened. That's right. Because Chad's like, oh no, so we all went over. I'm like, wait, what? Chad's, because I'm thinking, well, wait a minute, who in the hell bet on me being here at 8 a.m.?
No one
would have lost.
No one.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, from a serious perspective, dude, I think this whole group, I think, is tight knit enough. And I think we're all starting to, we're starting to jive with the process, and we're starting to embody each other's processes. And, not only do we take it with us to our own shows, but, when we come together on these sites, like, we just get to know it, we get to know it and we fall into it. And it's a good thing, because the last few times that we did it, it's always rough kicking that off and trying to embody it, especially as hobbyists, because hobbyists are chief most for essentially just like, everybody's got their own way of doing things. And a lot of times I think the hobbyists let pride and ego get in the way of kind of pushing that stuff aside and just becoming part of the machine. But what's beautiful about the processes and processes that I think we've developed as a unit is we're starting to jive together. We're starting to jive together, and it's getting good. And I think we're probably to a point where the upfront communication and the in the know stuff, that's it. I think once we get that down, then I think
it's international competition time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Whole other stress level.
Yeah.
Shoots like Caesar's back.
That guy from Malta would be looking at you like he was looking at what?
Well, I don't know what the future holds for any of us, or who's doing what shows coming up in the near future, if it's me or either of you guys, but I couldn't imagine having any other crew on the field than what we had this last weekend.
It makes you feel good, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Extremely. Being comfortable around everybody, just the atmosphere, joking around, having the fun, period. Like, knowing that you could trust everyone on that field, and that you knew that everyone wanted that show to be just as good as it was.
Yeah.
They didn't want to half-ass anything. Like, when you went out there and you were checking the racks and came back and told us that, like, I had no idea you were going out there to do that. What even made you go do that?
Me either.
Were you like, I'm going to go find AJ's up?
It wasn't like it wasn't that. It was like when I went out before and I was helping guys drop racks, like, and this is not at all any kind of, like, I'm not dropping a mic on whoever was dropping racks before, but I did notice that, like, one was backwards, Well, and it wasn't necessarily just like Jim, because, at one point Jim's guys showed up and then they were lending a helping hand, like helping him take racks and stuff out and set them down. So I think that's really what did it. Was I saw people out there that were, they're part of the crew, but not like, they were just extended parts of the crew, right? They were just helping hands. Yep. So when I was walking down the line, I just walked to 3 positions. And what I was feeling for was just to make sure that they were oriented the right way. I wasn't even checking angles. But I think just out of happenstance, I walked up to that one rack where it was fine. Like, the rack was oriented the right way. I just noticed, because it was real tight on top where the angle measurement was, where you could see what the label said. And it said, I was realizing that I was standing straight up and I was able to read negative 70 degrees or the whatever. And I'm thinking to myself,
that's like a 45.
I shouldn't be able to read that. So then I got down and I read it, and then I was like, oh, okay, maybe I'll go down and read a few more. And then I think I got about halfway and I had marked 2, and then you guys called me back for something. But then I was like, all right, well, just make sure you look at it. But yeah, I don't know. So it was never a job. Like, I never intended on doing that, because you think that stuff is going to get caught, right? You believe that stuff is going to get caught as it makes its way out. But again, you don't know until you know. And when you think about it, with hindsight being 2020, because we all load these racks and set the racks differently, by the time it got to us, it was probably like we were just in our groove. We were in our groove for our type of setup, and then it passed our check and it just got through. I mean, it happens, but like, when it happens, like, this is great, because now it like shined a light on something that we really do need to pay attention to and potentially create a process for.
Yeah.
completely understand that too. Yeah. So next time when the racks are done, have that, hey, all right, explain to me what you did here.
Yeah, here's how to go.
So that way I know, and then I'll make a little note off to the side, a Post-it note that constantly reminds me, hey, it's in the front this time, not in the rear.
Definitely glad that you caught it, though. I mean, that could have been bad.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, he would have killed me if his heart didn't show out the way it did.
Was that part of
it?
It
wasn't supposed to be there. That was a 45, not a 70.
Yeah, some of it was in it. Yeah, some of it was.
Ooh,
yeah, it would have been.
Yeah, Nate, I think you changed the world with that heart, buddy.
Yeah, it turned out good. I was happy with it.
It turned out great.
I'm glad it all worked.
Yeah, so good, man.
You said it back in the day, Bo. Remember when you said you couldn't wait to see what he would do when he could actually spread his wings outside of 90 feet?
Yeah, no kidding, dude. I look at stuff like this and it really does make me feel awesome. All of these years, people have been, practicing parabolas and doing all of these things. And you see people fall into certain kinds of shapes and you try to rack your brain to do something different. And now I can guarantee you over the next 4 or 5 years, you're going to see that shape that you did so much that I hope it makes you smile because like you truly had an impact.
Yeah, for sure.
People have been trying to do the whole meteor heart runs for forever now and letter shapes and things like that with meteors, but you achieved it using parabolas. And it's something that people like, that's going to stick, dude. People are going to go like, that's so good. I'm going to use that in my own shows.
Yeah. I look forward to seeing it too. Absolutely.
What's funny is like, he's been getting them too, but I got a few of them. They're like, hey, this sounds like the day I talked to you. Can we have your script?
Will you send me your finale file?
Yeah. Like, no.
No.
Okay, could you just send me that heart?
I'm not going to. That's what they wanted. That's exactly what they wanted.
We'll figure it out. Well, and that's like, forcing people to think outside of that box. It's kind of tough love, but it is good in the sense that, sure, you could give that to them, but in the act of them sitting down and really playing with the tool, like if they don't know how to use the tool or they're not really proficient in the tool, they're going to get proficient in the tool just playing around with stuff like that. They're going to start learning the ins and outs of their own firing systems, the resolutions that they can shoot stuff in. But who knows, in the act of doing that too, or you just using different product or creating or trying to create your shape, they could create something totally world changing in and of itself. And it could be something really, really cool to look at.
Well, you mentioned the product. That's we actually had to change the product that we were using for the heart because we were going to have it was a 50 millimeter Dominator, red tip, tiger tail with brocade mine. I can't remember what the part number was, but the shipment coming in from Dominator was late. So we totally had to change to a different product.
Ooh. And
we used two products. We used a Pyroland red tiger tail Comet and then used a 30 millimeter Raccoon brocade mine underneath it. So it ripped off a ton of cues on the two end stations in a pretty quick time.
and when we did that, he wanted to test it. I'm like, hey, I think we should break it up into two mods. I don't know if it'll you're shooting two cues at a time. So you're shooting like cues 1 and 2, then 3 and 4 together, and 5 and 6 together. So he ran a test. Yeah. And was it 236s you used, right? Or was it 72? No, it was 36 on the ends.
They were 36s. Yeah.
Yeah. And ripped through all of them like it was nothing. So after that, we were like, all right, we feel good. We'll just stick them wherever.
What was the other one that I thought was really, really well done? I think, Nate, this is one that you sent a snippet to me early on to look at, but it was that one where you did like the alternating waves. And I think it was like the blue and white strobe. It was kind of like, it almost looked like a
a rainbow,
what
almost like blue and silver.
Yeah. Dude, I thought that was just the pattern in and of itself was really unique, but the fact that you had such long burning effects and they kind of burned over that space is what made that shape so profound.
Yeah, now I want more of them.
Yeah. Well, for starters, what product was that?
It was a Wizard 30 millimeter. It was a white strobe to blue. So the white strobe was on the bottom part of it, and then the blue mine came out on top of it.
Okay.
Was it
a 30 millimeter mine? Like a 2-tier mine is what it was?
Yeah. Yeah, a 30 millimeter 2-tier mine. And it had some height on it too.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, and there was distinct separation between the white and the blue.
Yeah. They have a red version also.
Okay. So I thought that, you know, what's crazy is I think I used some of those at Octoblast, and because you used them so uniquely, I thought there was something totally different. How many of those did you use in that entire sequence?
60. No, yeah, 60.
Oh God. Yeah, that was beautiful, dude. I mean, to me, it's like it brought out my inner kid, because I'm like, it looks like a Gyarados. That's a Pokemon. The whole thing looks like
Pokemon.
A Gyarados.
We led into the other show.
That's right, man. Yeah, no, but that one got a really, really good, like it was a big wow moment for the crowd too.
Yeah, it was one of my favorite parts.
Yeah.
I know. I remember when it was coming up, you're like, here it comes.
It's just one of those things. Like I said before, we've been looking at this thing on a computer screen for so long, and you know, just that time's coming to where you can actually see it happen live, and it's like, I hope it looks like it does on the computer screen.
Yeah, well, it did, dude. I thought that was hella profound.
That was something funny when we were doing this. So again, he uses Finale and I use Show Sim, obviously. So I said it right. Yeah, I said it right. Woohoo, I'm doing it. Show Sim. But when I had it, I'd sent him the simulation to the final one. He's like, man, I really hope that turns out like that. I'm like, trust me, dude. I was like, I'm anal with my effects. That's exactly what it's going to look like. And it was dead on nuts, exactly what it was supposed to look like.
Yeah, it was crazy how close it was.
Yeah.
Congratulations, man. We messed up on that.
Right. How do you figure?
Because the comets, in the simulation, the comets aren't crossing like that. So we didn't think that they would shoot that far because we had no idea. They were new to us. Never, really had a time to shoot one.
Beasts.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what Nathan was saying during, because when I asked you about it earlier on, he's like, yeah, we had to change something, but like you said they lasted longer, like they burned longer than what you thought.
Oh, and they shot further. That's the biggest thing. We're in the middle. They crisscrossed. They weren't supposed to crisscross. They were actually just supposed to kind of meet up at the tips and stop.
And die out.
Yeah.
And then die out, yeah. And so when they kept going, when he did the first test and he sent it to me, I'm like, I was like, maybe we should push him out of station kind of thing. And then when I got to it, I'm like, yeah, that's going to cost us like another 6 mods. We're not doing that. Plus then you got to test it again. And then you don't know if it'll look like that, but they'll look good enough. So we're going to leave it, dude.
Yeah.
Let's not with it.
Yeah, meteor's a meteor and a comet's a comet, guys.
That's
I guess so.
Oh God!
Pull noodle, balls of ball.
That's right. Yeah, right. Doesn't matter.
Hey, shout out to your balls, man. Those things are the new ones. New ones are insane.
That sounded so weird.
You're welcome.
I know. I meant for it to sound weird. They're so squishy.
That's right, baby.
They are awesome. I knew you was one.
They work really well.
That was definitely. I remember when we were cleaning it up too. You were like, I was like, here, you're like, give me my ball back. We were talking about the new ones. I was like, I wasn't saying that one. Like you were like, this is my balls.
No,
it's nice how you can put a 40 in without having to like struggle. It's just like goes right in.
Man. Yeah, it goes in like
slides right in
like butter. I still don't know what smells in the trailer. I almost wonder if it's the balls, if the new ones soaked up some water or something.
What's it smell like?
I don't know. It smells like I told AJ this when I was driving home. I said, I was like, I wonder if somebody ate some food in my trailer and just like threw their plate in the back or something. But it smells musty.
So
I don't know if the the
that could
squishy
be
balls.
almost anything with water on it.
I know. Yeah.
Yeah. It was raining.
It was.
Well, actually, it didn't rain till, it rained the day
We
we
hit
were setting
towels.
up on the one. But and then on cleanup, it rained. It didn't even technically rain. Technically, we got away scot-free completely what it could have been. It wasn't Skywars cleanup.
Dude, it could
rain.
have been so bad if we were there the next day.
Did anybody
So
else
bad.
feel like cleanup took forever?
Yeah, I think it's because we were all so tired.
I mean, Skywars, we were out of there at like 2:30. It was like 5:30 in the morning. We were still there.
Yeah, but we had more guys at Skywars.
That's true.
We had the guy with the golf cart and his buddy, and there was a lot more people. We had Delissa and her boyfriend Kyle. So
And
you
this
had more
field was
hands.
much larger.
Yeah, and this one was definitely a lot larger.
Yeah, we were looking at our watch. We were looking at our watches on the way home, and we averaged like 7 to 10 miles of walking a day.
Actually, that explains why I feel like I'm in such good shape now.
Came home
Before I went, I didn't feel like I didn't feel like I was in such good shape. I'm gonna have a great anniversary this weekend.
Darth's home.
Oh yeah, Darth's home. Yeah, Darth's about 10 pounds lighter. Katie asked me, she's like, well, "What'd you eat every day?" I'm like, "Not much."
We really didn't. That's the weird part too.
It
man.
is right. That's the worst part of that joke is I got to thinking about it because I said it sarcastically, but then I was like, no, that's accurate. I ate James's chicken and some hot dogs every day.
And my meat.
And your meat and the meat sticks. And then
Hey, we went to dinner every night.
That's true.
Yeah,
the Mexican night was the probably the best that I ate while I was there. I did not go over and dive into the meat container as much as I should have.
Yeah.
Can I share that video, the happy birthday video? Not the one you're thinking. I'm thinking one sharing. The one at the Mexican restaurant where you're singing happy birthday.
That was great.
Oh yeah,
In your
hat.
hat. Okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, not the other one. I wouldn't do that
to you. Lice-filled hat. Yeah, let me come to terms with what happened first. Lice-filled Mexican hat. Yeah. All right. Well, let's see here. All right, we're exactly 1 hour, boys. All right, let's do this. We'll do. We got this because we do have a voicemail this week.
Why don't you ever pick up the phone? I've got something to ask you. I was so endless in your brain. Guys, there's so much knowledge in here. Ready, I'll give it to me.
All right, we got one voicemail this week, and it's from Anonymous. And I think this was left maybe I don't know. Actually, what was the date? 8/7. So that's yesterday. All right. Am I in here? Yeah, soundboard's in here. All right, let's see.
Your dog's cracking me up.
Oh my God. What? Wow. Wow. It's it. This is 24 seconds of this.
It has to be someone on the crew. That's the only people that know what this is.
To be.
That's Jamie all day long.
That's hilarious.
He won't pick up the phone to talk to me, but he's got time to do that. It's either Jamie or Jim. I bet. You think Jim's capable of finding the leave a voicemail button?
I don't know if Chad kept playing it.
That's true.
Yeah,
Maybe
that's
Chad
true.
does it too.
That's true. But Jamie was the culprit most of the time. Like every time he was playing the Star Wars theme and everything. Ding, 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 ding. So.
God.
Oh, man.
We need to start plugging the voicemail line more. If you'd like
I
to
hope you had
leave
a
a
happy
voice
birthday, though. Oh, sorry. Before
I
we go,
did. I had a great birthday, man. You guys made it really special.
It was a good time.
You guys made it really special. Yeah, that's one word for it.
Memorable.
Memorable. Yeah, that's true. That's absolutely accurate. I'll never forget that birthday.
My friends are weirdos.
You did. At the table that night, though, I thought you were going to die.
I couldn't breathe,
AJ,
man.
You were laughing. You were laughing so hard. I thought any minute you were going to keel over dead. He's not breathing.
Well, it's because it was so funny because we're not getting into this.
Stop talking about it.
Oh God. Yeah. Go join the Patreon, patreon.com/Rhythm Pyro. And then go join the Discord. There's links there. And
I'll FOMO you there.
Yeah, he'll FOMO you there. Ask him the story about what I got for my birthday. And I know that'll work out for me because he'll go, yeah, wouldn't you like to know? Go ahead and tell him somebody else. Somebody else. Bo, you tell the story. You tell it best.
Thank God Jim doesn't have Discord. Stop talking about it.
Yeah, stop talking about it.